Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Life on Mars. Last time on Life on Mars, we had The Reds Come Marching In. However, it is also unofficially known as The Footy. So basically, there was someone who was murdered, which tends to happen a lot on this show. Because it's a crime drama. Anyway, there was a person that was murdered. It seemed to be a football-related incident. So, Sam, Jean, and Annie went undercover working at a pub to try to get information. Eventually, they did figure out that it was a football-related crime. However, it was the same team, actually. Because basically, these two guys that supported the Manchester United team wanted to rough up one of their own people to rally all the United fans against the Manchester City fans. However, it went wrong and the man ended up dead. And the guy that did kill him was like, oh, it's about football, which means he's lost all credibility as a person. And then Sam basically told him exactly that and told him off, and it was really great. So yeah, that was pretty much that. With that said, let's go ahead and hop into this episode of Life on Mars, and we'll see what we're going to call this one at the end of the episode. Here we go. Oh, we already have a title. Though, in fairness, I'm not sure what that song is called. Uh-oh. That phone ain't actually ringing. Subconscious time.
They look for these patches of colour and there's nothing, Sam.
For God's sake, Mum, get better doctors.
Negligible brain activity. That's what they call
Negligible.
Get better doctors, get better scanners.
You're breathing, but it's an illusion of life.
Huh.
I know you've already... I've given my consent to turn off you. To turn it off.
No, Mum, no. No!
Oh,
It's
turn
this
off.
afternoon,
Turn off life support.
2 o'clock.
Boss, I feel as rough as a dog's arse.
No.
You bastards!
Hey, no, I wanted to invite you, but Ray said you'd just spoil it.
Tom Looney's taken hostages at the Manchester Gazette. Reports are that he's armed and very dangerous.
Oh, no.
He's saying that at 2 o'clock today, someone is going to die.
Oh god, at 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
You're serious?
That's
Someone dies at
specific.
2. So are you going to throw chairs around, or do you fancy doing something about it?
Do something about it, Sam. This is your chance.
Chris, get on the phone. Raise the department. Nobody dies today.
Ugh.
My name is Sam Tyler.
Alright.
I had an accident.
So I actually don't know what that song is called. I'm assuming it's called What a Wonderful World. If that's the case, then that's what this episode is going to be called.
We need an inner cordon as well as this one. Think of it as 2 circles, one inside the other. The area in the centre is out of limits to everybody but us.
Fair enough.
Call it the donut.
Jam or custard.
Now you're just being silly.
I'm
No.
not the one calling it a donut.
He's got
That's
natural
true.
camouflage.
His face rang a bell, but I wouldn't want to guess at it. Sticklers for the facts on the Gazette.
You sure you boys aren't blowing us up out of all proportion? Because it's a slow news day. I know you journos.
No.
I know you, Mr. Hunt.
Wow.
He's got a thing about battles. Glory. He's a reader. Browning, Shakespeare, Tennyson, Giles.
Right. Unhappy the land that has no heroes. Is he a war hero?
Why would a man with a fixation for heroism do something this terrible?
Maybe he wants to make a hero?
I would appreciate it if you could help me. Now, why don't you let us send a doctor in for Doris?
No, no doctors.
Okay, why don't you send her out then? It would be the chivalrous thing to do.
Well, at least we know where he lives. I could send him a Christmas card.
Dang it. Come on. You always gotta wait a little bit for Sam to do something.
A nurse is non-threatening. Keep him off guard.
You need a uniform.
A nurse came with the ambulance.
Tea wagons are out, boss.
Thank
Don't
God.
want you drying up in the middle of negotiations now, would we? Go on.
Blimey, I've dreamt about this.
No.
Reggie can only help the situation. What do you say?
Send her up.
All right. Well, he at least agreed to that.
You can withdraw the feeding tube now. We'll disconnect at 2.
Ah.
Jackie Queen. She's thinking we've run out of ideas.
Is there something I should know about you and Jackie Queen?
She's got it in for the police. She wants to know everything about us.
You've got nothing to hide. You've got nothing to hide.
We've got nothing to hide on this one. The whole city could see we got cordons and donuts. And now we've sent a helpless plonk.
All right, Steve. Keep your hats on.
Oh, great.
Tag, gents.
Litton.
Litton. Bloody nightmare.
want spam sandwiches and water.
We could let him eat lead instead.
Leave them outside this door, and no funny business.
He's getting hungry. He's getting hungry because Sam's feeding tube is gone. That's it.
There's a lot at stake here, Reg, for both of us.
Oh, shit.
Very wise. And you were exceedingly stupid. Give her your key.
And the master key.
Look.
So are they hostages now, too?
Tell me what's so important about 2 o'clock.
It's our deadline for the evening edition.
See,
Trying to stop.
I want my story heard.
What is your story?
What you should be worried about, Inspector, is how the story ends.
Huh.
Our readers will just skip down to the bit about you shooting everyone. This frightening day ended in a nuclear explosion of desperate bloodshed as Cole 59
55?
finally unleashed his pent-up fury. I'll get the Carnegie Award for this. Posthumously, of course.
No.
But in his daily life, he saw cowardice, selfishness, a desire for cheap glory. And so he felt alone.
You're in the wrong institution, Inspector Tyler.
No.
You don't know the half of it.
I'm not lonely.
No, but you feel isolated.
Like the Connecticut Yankee in the court of King Arthur.
Sure, that's a metaphor.
A man out of time.
Ah.
I think she's had a heart attack.
Oh,
You can
God.
do mouth to mouth.
Okay. Alright, go. Chest.
You can do
Okay,
it,
good.
Doris. Come back to us,
That looks
Doris.
good.
Come on, Doris, you're missing all the fun.
She's gone.
Now, come on, don't count her out.
Fight.
Come on. Oh, I bet this is for Sam, too. Woo! Good job, Sam.
I've never seen that technique before.
Oh, they don't know chest compressions yet? Jesus. Okay. Get Doris to a hospital.
Thank you, Reg.
Just Doris is leaving.
You normally play golf. Your clubs are behind the coat stand. You always bring them in Friday. Over the weekend, they have to be moved so that someone can clean all the corners in your office. You're always surprised that they've changed position over the weekend.
Well, this guy's done his
Yeah.
homework.
Don't you usually wear your red skirt on Mondays?
Are you spying on us?
I work here. 8 years.
Oh.
Fix the locks on those doors. I help bring in the new filing cabinets.
He's
Amend
maintenance.
the electrics. Tend the grounds.
Oh. Oh.
Hey, George, let me see.
It was in the arm.
How does it feel to shoot someone? Is it how you imagined it?
He's taking that bullet really well,
You
actually.
weren't there, were you? You never went to war.
Oh.
You wanted to, though.
He wanted to be a hero.
What'll revive him?
Punch to the face.
Ooh! Alright, get rid of the one gun that he has. But I just keep beating him. You missed! Man, so the shot in the arm was a fluke.
I have a new ending for your article. At 2 p.m. today, the hostages were forced to witness the execution of 3 police officers as reprisals against a pointless escape attempt.
I feel like they could have just beat him down. Like, why'd they run specifically? Like, Annie could have led them out while Sam and Jean beat the ever-living crap out of him.
I reckon we could take him. I'll jump on him, you take his gun. Cartwright can jump up and down on his knackers. Free the hostages, get down a pub, no problem.
That's a relief. For a moment there, I thought we were in trouble.
I honestly, if he only has the one gun, you knocked it out, beat him. I don't understand what happened there.
Graduation day. Jumping off a 20-foot bridge into a weir with a bottle of Matthias Rose in one hand, with a bottle of wine in one hand, and me brown in the other.
I think that's just become one of my dying memories.
My 4th birthday. My dad was away a lot. Salesman. And I woke up that morning and I remember thinking, is he gonna be here? Is he gonna be... And she said, I'm so sorry, Sammy. He couldn't make it back in time. I was gutted. And I just stood there. And then I heard this whistling.
Okay, I was gonna say, these have to be happy
Breathed
memories.
like a fellow. A savor. That moment. Knowing that he was there.
It's kind of a dick move by your parents.
I'll ask Jackie Queen if she thinks we're heroic. An armed blag at a post office. This bloke had a gun. He was running towards the crowd.
It wasn't a gun, though, was it? It was a stick. He was unarmed. He was a wee kid with a wooden stick, Jean. You shot him in the back.
He was running towards the crowd. He'd been in a siege situation for hours. If he'd have been armed, he could have killed a lot of them. I had to make a decision, woman, in a second, and you nailed me for it. You turned it into a hatchet job, and I had to live that down. Looks I got from people on the street.
It was covered up. No inquiry.
I mean, I don't know, man. It sounds like it was a mistake.
Happy the land that has no heroes. No. Unhappy the land that needs heroes.
I don't understand.
If you fail to be a hero, be content to be a villain.
Oh, shit, it's the Dark Knight.
I'm not trying to be a hero.
You're deluded, Sam. You're breathing, your heart's beating, but it's an illusion of life.
Nah.
You're dead already. When you're done with him, you better turn on me quick, Cole. Or I'll kill you.
Oh, shit.
And I didn't turn around. Because I knew my dad was home.
Sammy, big boy now, eh?
Oh!
It's over, Cole! You've met your match.
Ah, Lytton and Ray.
Sir, no!
Wow!
Put the gun down, Reg.
Oh!
Scotch. It's bleeding whiskey.
That was the Guff's collar. I want that known. Have you got that?
Have you got that?
And I want Love Me Tender played at my funeral.
Was it the... Yes!
That was lucky, eh?
Woo!
What are the chances?
Oh. He's got like 8 of them.
Good, actually. Well, you never know how far you're going to be from a boozer.
It's amazing. Uh-oh.
That's a hero's pistol, Reg.
Huh.
Come on. Come on. Give me the gun. It's over.
Okay.
Dies today.
Nobody dies today.
The Gov took a shot to the chest in the line of duty.
Luckily, he had the foresight to be wearing protection.
Well, I'm a great believer in following standard procedure in a hostage-taking scenario.
Nuh.
I just cheated death.
Oh.
They didn't switch me off. Why?
Sam, do me a favour.
Shut the fuck up.
Enjoy the moment.
Nah. I am curious what happened, though. I have taken so many notes on this episode. Cheers. I have water.
Here we go, boys and girls. We made the evening edition.
You say you can't detect anything, but I know what I saw. At 2 o'clock on the dot, I saw Sam smile. I saw him smile.
How does it feel to be a hero?
Like being drunk on myself.
Nah.
What a wonderful world.
Holy Toledo. Alrighty. I'm going to pop over to my list, which I currently have on Discord. So, we've got episode 5. Okay, so we called... Well, I guess I technically don't know if that song is called What a Wonderful Life. So, I'm just going to assume. But I can already tell that's not going to be the title. So, let's see... The Deadline. Well, that's not so bad, I guess. Alright. The Deadline. Meh. That's alright, I guess. Holy moly. Oh, that's right. I wanted to look up the guy that plays Reg. Because he looks familiar. That's why he seems familiar. Okay. So, I just went on to IMDb for the guy that plays Reg Cole. He played Clement MacDonald in Torchwood, Children of Earth. The old man in Torchwood. That's why he looked familiar. Okay. Good. I knew I recognized him from somewhere. So, oh man, what an episode. This might be some of the most notes I've taken for Life on Mars, actually, which is interesting. So, that said, I don't think this is going to be a super long discussion, but let's go ahead and jump right into the notes on this one. So the first thing I wrote down is 2 o'clock and a hostage. So, that's a very interesting way of doing that, because I feel like for a while we've sort of been toning back on everything with Sam and the present day and being in the hospital and everything. So I do like that, where we sort of not only bring it back in force, but also sort of making it the crux of the episode, where basically Sam realizes that they're going to disconnect him from life support at 2 o'clock, and that coincides with the hostage situation where someone will die at 2 o'clock. So, that's very, very interesting. And yeah, so we have our hostage situation with the Manchester Gazette. So, okay, by the way, it's only now that I actually, put the two chords together in my brain and realize that this takes place in Manchester. Obviously, then. Because, yeah, I guess I just didn't think about it. And I guess it makes sense because last episode, they were two different Manchester teams, United and City, and now this is the Manchester Gazette, so obviously we're in Manchester. But I just never, I never put those two, I never connected those two wires to get that information, so I'm stupid, whatever. So yes, the hostage situation... That's such a hard thing for me to say for some reason. Hostage situation. A hostage situation. My mouth just doesn't want to do that, you know? So, but I guess we should look up if that song is actually called What a Wonderful World. And this time I'm actually just going to look on my laptop. Just because it's easier than trying to... It's easier than, pulling up an on-screen keyboard on my desktop, so... What a wonderful world. Yeah, I can already tell. Yep, what a wonderful world. I was right. So, that back, and plug it back in. All right. So, yeah, the Gazette, very interesting setup there. I like how, again, we sort of start off with, the difference of procedure and, the difference of ideologies and stuff like that. That was very interesting. The whole thing with, trust and talking and, trying to, basically trying to gain trust with Reg, basically, which was good. And obviously, Jean wanting to just go in, kill him, and be done with it, So, that was very interesting. But I like that it didn't, take too big a focus, So, that was interesting. But that was good, and just showing the differences. And I do like also that that it also showed the difference between it also showed the difference not only with Sam and Jean, but also with Lytton, who was going in basically doing the whole thing as well. But then there were moments like when he said, oh, no one dies, wouldn't that be good to get on the front page? And he did consider it. I was like, oh yes, that would make me sound good on the front page, so we'll go with that. No one dies, So yeah, Lytton's a very interesting character. I mean, I feel like we don't get enough of him. This is only the second episode we've gotten him, but yeah, it's just very interesting. Just sort of this other unit, this other department, basically that we're basically competing with, I guess. So yeah, and they always show up in their classic 30s suits and stuff. Whereas everyone else is, just wearing a normal jacket and stuff. So, yeah. It's very interesting. I kind of want more of Lytton and everything, But yeah, and then we got the whole thing of basically going into why Reg is doing this. The whole thing of, glory and honor and war and heroism and stuff like that. It's very interesting because there are, honestly, it's sort of a thing of just, being known, this does happen. There are people that are like, I just want to be known for something. And even the stuff when he starts talking about, how he's the maintenance guy and, he knows everything about them, but they don't even know that he's been working there for 8 years and stuff like that. That I almost feel like barely plays a factor in it, It's all of this stuff, but I mean that it is a contributing factor. That, no one knew who he was, he felt isolated, he felt like a man out of time, and he wanted to be a hero, which is why he wanted to join the war, He wanted to join, now, okay, 1970s, look, I'm going to be honest, I don't fully, when it comes to wars between World War II and, the present day, I get foggy on, all the dates, so I'm assuming, because this is 1973, I'm assuming the war that they refer to would be Vietnam. Yeah, that makes the most sense. So and if he's been working there for 8 years, probably, I suppose that lines up. I'm pretty sure, again, sort of after World War II, a lot of dates start to get fuzzy for me. And even then, I don't know the dates of every war, that was always the thing in my history classes, which, yes, I have said multiple times on this channel that I do actually have a bachelor's degree in history. But I cannot spout you history stuff like my dad can. As you guys probably know if you watch any of my Doctor Who Classic reactions with him. He's spouting off history left and right, and I'm just sort of going along with it. But it was one of the things that, occasionally, when you get a class with a teacher who's like, oh, we're not focusing on the dates and stuff. And that's great, but that means sometimes I can't remember dates. So Vietnam, I don't know the exact dates. I mean, basically, if you tell me okay, what's going on in the world, during this time, the first thing I would probably go to is the Cold War, before I went to like Vietnam and Korea and so on and so forth, or any other, non-war things that are happening. But the first thing I sort of go to is the Cold War. Obviously, no one fights in the Cold War. That's a whole different type of war. But Vietnam probably is what they are referring to when they mention the war. So, at least I'm assuming. It's entirely possible it's not. So, but I'm pretty sure they're not referring to World War II. I'm pretty sure I can be. I think I can be pretty positive about that. So, so yeah. The hell was I saying? War, glory, hero, stuff like that. So that's very interesting. There are the whole thing of, him being isolated, wanting this, glory and everything. And it's interesting. He basically, when he says like, oh, I want my story told, and it's like but it's not like, when he started saying stuff like that, I was sitting here thinking like, okay, so he wants the story of his life out there. And while that's kind of true, it's mainly just the whole thing of, like, oh, well, I want people to know, who I am. And, they start going over, oh, he's isolated and stuff like that. And, but they're not going over like specific events that happen in his life. They're just saying sort of who he is, where he is in life now. And then the whole thing of killing the hostages. And it's also interesting how they say, they're going over like the details of like what Jackie is writing, and it's like, oh, this, and he's like, oh yes, this is good. And I like how she actually stops and says, look, no one's actually going to read that stuff. People are going to skip straight to the part where you kill all the hostages, which is a very good point. And this, you can kind of bring up, stuff that we have now, like, and especially, in the United States, where shootings and gun violence and domestic terrorism are a big deal here. And, one thing you hear a lot nowadays is the media shouldn't be going into everything about the killer, the terrorists, whatever you want to call them. And part of that is true, that it's like, look, if you, in the 24-hour news cycles on 20,000 different news channels, if you are constantly showing this person for 24 hours, what is that accomplishing? What is that honestly accomplishing, other than, first off, the people are disturbed, definitely. The people are disturbed by this. This person is getting the fame they want. And if anything, this is probably inspiring more people to do this, You look at some of this and it's like, okay, so this person did this, it got all over the news, they got their fame, now someone else is going to go do it. It's the same thing here with Reg. Reg is going through this and he's like, yes, I want my story to be heard. I want to be, I want to be recognized. So someone else who feels exactly like Reg is going to read all this and be like, you know what? I want that too. I want that too, so I'm going to go do that. I'm going to go take hostages. That's what I'm going to do. It's the same thing. And this happens. It's all, you'd almost say it's a snowball effect. That it would just keep happening because different people keep getting inspired by these, isolated, people, lonely people that want to be recognized. Find a different fucking way to be recognized. Jesus Christ. Which, that's the thing. Reg did try, technically. Reg did try. He wanted to be a hero. He wanted to be a war hero. But it didn't work. He didn't go to war. It didn't work. So instead, he resolved to be the villain. You either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Which is crazy that we're referencing. And this is was that 2008? I think that was 2008 when The Dark Knight comes out. So that's 2 years after this. Oh, that's weird to think about. That The Dark Knight was only 2 years after this. Christ, man. That's crazy. Iron Man came out that same year, didn't it? 2008? So, well, it's kind of weird when I start thinking about, like, pre-2010, I guess. Like, I don't know. Maybe just because, for me, that feels like such a long time ago because, okay, let's all face it, 2008, I was 11. I was born in 1997. But that's just me. For some of you guys, you're probably like, oh, 2008. Well, who the fuck cares, you know? So, anyway. Yeah, but this came out in 2006 specifically. Yeah, that's what the point I was trying to make. But the whole thing about, you know, getting recognized, being a hero, it is sort of that snowball effect. And honestly, that's the thing, is that this was a story written in 2006, written about 1973, that is still relevant in 2021, you know? To think about that is almost mind-boggling, you know? It's just, like, insane that this is still relevant, you know? People do this. Look at, you know, some presidential assassinations, you know? Like, there will be someone who's like, I'm fucking crazy. I want to be known. The only way that I know how to be known is to go shoot the president, and they will go do that, you know? It's that sort of mentality, you know? Now, in this, obviously, yes, Reg isn't going after the president or the prime minister in the case of the UK, but still he's holding people hostage. But the other thing I'm thinking, too, is that, you know, this whole plan, I don't even... See, this is such a weird thing to say, but, like, I feel like Reg's plan is almost too small. And I don't want to be... I don't want to sit here and, like, give tips about this or anything, but the thing is... the human attention span, let's all face it, is small. And this is pretty much going off of what Jackie says when it's like, oh, they're just going to skip to the part where you kill everyone. But even if people stop and read that, they stop and they read that, chances are that is out of their head the next day. Now, maybe they could remember it. It's entirely possible they might remember it. But people who are not, you know, they don't know the hostages, they don't work at the Gazette, they're not a part of this, it's separate from their world, they're going to forget in a day. I know that is the case. So to think that he would go through all of this and kill all those hostages, you know, he would kill 4 hostages, 3 coppers, all for most people not to actually read his story, some people to read his story, but then they'll forget. I guarantee you they'd forget. And the people that do remember go out and kill more. The idea of that, and that is exactly what would happen if it all went down like that. The idea of that, and the fact that Reg still goes, you know, basically tries to go through with it anyway, is, I mean, it's disturbing, you know? It's just disturbing. So, other things about this episode. Very clever sending in Annie as a nurse, administering CPR. That was good. Although, she didn't... I like that, because I didn't even think about this, that Sam is doing the chest compressions. She doesn't even know how to do that, you know? Like, I don't know the specifics of CPR in 1973, but that was very good. You know, he goes in with the chest compressions, and he does actually save Doris. I thought it was also interesting, I didn't say this in the reaction, but I thought about it, that they didn't drag that scene out, like, at all. Like, basically it's like, oh no, I need help. Can you help her? Yes. He goes over, come on. Okay, she's good. Like, all right. Good job, you know? Good job. I just thought that was kind of interesting that they make this whole big deal of it. But it does then lead to Reg letting Doris go, which is good. Let's see. They did try to escape. Okay, the escape attempt I thought was a bit weird. You know, and I guess I can understand that it wasn't that Jean and Sam were trying to escape, but they were trying to ensure that the remaining hostages and Annie were able to get out of the fire chute okay. However, they punched him, kicked the gun out of his hand, and then they ran while he went and got the gun. Tackle him. You know, between... I mean, I feel like Jean could take him alone. Because Jean, he's a very built man, you know? He's a very... Like, I don't want to say, like, oh, he's super large or anything, but he is a bit more built, you know? Probably of all... Of the entire team, he's probably the most built of them. And you have Sam there. Why the two of them could not just tackle him and keep the gun out of his hand and then arrest him, I have no idea. No idea. But whatever. Whatever. I did like how they were going over the memories, and so Annie talking about jumping off a bridge that makes it sound worse than it is, but jumping off a bridge, bottle of wine in one hand and her bra in another. And I like Jean. It's like, I think that's become one of my dying memories now. So that was funny. And then Sam's memory of his dad. Kind of a dick move on their parents' part. Like, I get the whole thing of like, oh, they're trying to make it so that it's all the better when, you know, when his dad is there. But no, that's kind of a dick move. Being like, I'm sorry, your dad's not there. And he's fucking, like, starting to be traumatized. And then thank God, you know, he does start, you know, whistling and Sam starts to feel better. But still kind of a dick move. Kind of a dick move. I don't know if I would do that if I was a parent. But I don't know. The 70s, it was a different time. I don't know. And then the whole thing with Jean, where, so the kid was running at a crowd with a stick. Jean thought he was armed, so he made a tough call. He had a tough call to make, and he did make the call, and he killed the kid. And because of that, Jackie blasted him all over the Manchester Gazette. Okay, how do you approach this? Because on the one hand, yes, she is doing her job. Yes, she was telling the truth about what happened, per se. But from what it sounds like she just wrote it. When you would honestly think what it should have been is perhaps an interview. Now, I'm trying to tread carefully here, because police going too far, let's face it, is not an issue reserved for the 70s. Police going too far and people ending up dead. That is something that does still happen in 2021. So I'm trying to think about it. It's the difference of, and you can probably guess, you know, some modern examples I'm thinking of in my head. But I will say there is a distinction here. And even just, you know, I'm thinking of other things. Again, you can probably think of what I'm thinking of, where it's not even police, you know, just someone killing another person because they thought they might be dangerous. Fill in whatever case you can think of. But I think the distinction here is that Jean, I think Jean does feel remorse for it. I think with Jean, he does realize, yes, he made a mistake. He made a decision. You know, a situation was happening. He made a decision. Unfortunately, it was the wrong decision. So, that said, you would almost think, from what it sounds like Jackie came up with her own conclusion that he didn't even try, he just killed the kid without thinking about it. And perhaps if they had talked and Gene got his side of the story where he said, look, he could have been armed. Everything was happening so quick and I had to make a decision. I made the decision. Yes, it is unfortunate that it was the wrong decision. It was a mistake. Humans make mistakes. But if he says that, if he puts it out there like, if he was able to put it out there like that, instead of her just writing the article, then perhaps it could be better. Does he still make the mistake? Yes. But that would honestly be more of the process of healing. You know? It would be more of that, where if he gets it, yes, he made the wrong decision. But in the moment, there was a tough decision. You know, it is possible the person could have been armed, and he knew that if he is armed, he could shoot, you know, this entire crowd, basically. So he made a decision. It is unfortunately the wrong decision. Does that fix everything? No, but it doesn't paint him basically as a monster. Like he said, you know, it's like, oh, I got looks on the street from everyone, you know? It goes from, you know, a bloodthirsty cop to a man that made a mistake. I think that's how I would approach that. Very, very interesting, though. And then we had the climax. The climax, which was very interesting. And I like that the reveal that the reason they kept Sam on is because he smiled at 2:00. Precisely at 2:00, he smiled, so his mother kept him on. Kept him alive, and that was it. That was very, very good. And also funny that the Gov has, you know, 8 different flasks on him that can take a bullet for him. So, that was all good. All in all, really, really great episode. Really, really enjoyed this. And I'm very curious to see where we are going. We only got 2 episodes left in this season, so I'm very curious to see where we are going next time. So with all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around to any of those. There's a playlist for all of my Life on Mars reactions, as well as another video you can go check out. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys next time.